Hello and greetings from Cameron and Beth Byrd at the University of Oklahoma. Beth and I are so thankful for your ongoing support and prayer in our work as we take the gospel to new places and make disciples among the lost. And that has been an incredible journey, and I would love to tell you more about how God's used that over the last 6 years. I've only got time right now to chat about what God's been doing over the last month, and as excited as I am about that, I gotta say I found the perfect spot on campus for this video. Over my one shoulder is the football stadium, the glory of every OU fan. And over my other shoulder is a little something for me. I've got greenhouses on campus, so I don't feel nearly as out of place. So to get to it, we have just moved. July 6th, we changed our address to Norman, Oklahoma. And for two cowboys, that was a step of trusting God. We left behind our renovation house that we finished, and it's probably the most beautiful house that we will ever have. And that, like I told a number of you before, that is a step for us that was a significant measure of trusting God, not knowing what He was going to provide, but trusting that He's good. An update on that. What God has provided for us is amazing. And what we've found in Norman through a connection that we've never even met in person is an amazing house that's got an extra bedroom for our growing family. It's so close to campus, it's about a mile on the east side of campus, on the northeast side of campus, and it has unique accommodations for hosting people. It's a newer house than our last one. It has a brand new AC unit, which we're thrilled about. And we were able to buy it for a little bit more than what we sold our last house for, because of the generosity of someone who wanted to see their home continue to be used to further the kingdom of God. God provided for us in an amazing way. Wow. Also, for those of you who didn't know already, that is a baby announcement. We are expecting our third little child, and a little girl is expected to come at the end of September, or maybe the beginning of October. You know how these things are. And we could not be more overjoyed about our new addition. And we want to share our joy with you. This addition has, though, complicated our process of moving and getting settled in, because in addition to the normal moving things, unpacking, and getting settled, we have had to build a couple of things and get a nursery set up. And the work of getting settled has been so much greater than I anticipated. But I think we are over the hump. And it could not come a moment too soon, because freshmen are here today. And this week, every day, more and more students are going to be moving into their dorms and beginning to engage in student life on campus. And that's exactly why we're here. I'm not a freshman anymore, but I certainly feel like it, because I don't know where anything is. And I spent the last 40 minutes getting a parking pass so I can park on campus. In wandering around campus this morning to familiarize myself and praying as I went for the people that we would meet, and asking that God will redeem people for Himself from each one of these colleges and buildings and majors that I encountered, I was reminded of the words in Mark 6:34. It says, when Jesus went ashore, He saw great crowds, and He felt compassion for them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And that is what I see on campus. And I want to have that same heart that Jesus had as I see people and as I meet them, and to allow that understanding of their spiritual nature and their need for the gospel to define how I see them and interact with them, rather than whether they look like me and sound like me. Tomorrow is the very first event here on campus that the NAVs will be meeting students in mass and trying to gain contacts and develop a foothold to do follow-up with them and share the gospel and see if there are students that are willing to be discipled. Earlier today, at the beginning of the afternoon, I got a phone call from my only full-time coworker staff, and he said he is entering quarantine because he has COVID. Unfortunately, I am going to be leading a lot more student events solo this week than we had planned. And I was almost surprised when I heard that news from him, but at the same time, I remember this as ministry, and many times before I've seen well-laid plans go off the rails at strategic points. And it's a reminder to me that we have an enemy who attacks through spiritual means and who wants to destroy us and keep us from doing the work of God. He's a very real enemy, and at the same time, God allows some of the things that the enemy intends for evil so that we have opportunity to depend on him. And that's the opportunity that I have in front of me. I want to ask you to pray for my family to settle and rest here in Norman. I want to ask you to pray for our student engagement, that we would meet a lot of students and that we would meet students who are spiritually hungry. I want to ask you to pray for my spirit and attitude as I do more ministry activities by myself than I had intended. I want to ask you to pray for Beth and I that we would depend on God rather than on our efforts as we lay foundation for fruitful ministry. I want to ask you to pray for my coworker that he would be healed and get a negative COVID test so he can re-engage with me in the work of ministry. These are the things in front of us, and I look forward to being in touch again soon. Thank you again so much for your partnership in advancing the gospel at OU. Bye.